Hello everyone. In this session, we will discuss about web technologies unit 3, that is XML. So, XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. So, coming to the contents to be discussed from this unit 3, that is XML or. So, the first here you need to discuss about XML and that is the first topic is the document type definition, and the second topic is XML schemas, and the third one is a document object model. Next XSLT, which stands for Extensible Style Sheet Language Transformation, and the next one is DOM, which stands for Document Object Model, and SAX approaches. So, here we need to know about the differences between DOM and SAX approaches. The next one is AJAX. Here we need to discuss about AJAX, which stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So, here the topics to be discussed are introduction to AJAX and integrating the PHP with AJAX. So, then coming to the objectives. So, the first objective is learning about types of DTD, DOM and SAX. The next objective is the creation of a schema in XML. Next, learning about AJAX, and then the last one is integrating PHP with AJAX. That is about objectives. So, now we will discuss about introduction regarding the XML. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language, and it is also a markup language like the HTML. So, while HTML is designed to display the data, whereas this XML is designed to carry the data. And as you know that the XML tags are not predefined, but whereas coming to the HTML, there the tags are predefined. But in this XML, the tags are not predefined. It means you can define your own tag based on your requirement. And XML, that's why XML is designed to be self-descriptive, and XML is a W3C recommendation, and XML was designed to transport and store the data, whereas HTML was designed to display the data. Understood? So, now what are the rules for writing the XML document? So, in XML the basic entity is an element. So, where each and every element is used to define the tag, and these elements typically consisting of opening tag and closing tag as well as. So, XML is case sensitive, but whereas as you know that HTML is not a case sensitive. See, in that example we have used an element that is a name, where its starting tag is written in lower case and ending tag is in that ending tag only the first letter is written in upper case. So, writing like that is not allowed, and so in XML each starting tag must have its ending tag. So, the XML elements in XML must be properly nested. Understood? See this example, here I have written an element that is a name, and I have closed the name also at the end. In between the opening and the closing of the name tag, I have used two tags, that is the first name as well as the last name. So, coming to this example, now see, if you want to insert and even in that example a space or else a tab character is not allowed in the term, that is element name, and as well as the attribute name also. And sometimes there is a need to insert some special symbols, even we used in HTML also. If you wanted to use some less than or a greater than symbol or else ampersand symbol like that, as usually you need to use ampersand GT, ampersand LT, ampersand AMP and ampersand QUOT, where it is used to insert the quotes. And generally whatever the syntax that you used for writing the comments in HTML, the same syntax is to be followed for writing the comment like this. Understood? So, here we used an exclamatory mark while writing a comment. See here, this is a comment line. So, coming to the advantages of XML. So what are the advantages of XML means? So the XML document is a human readable and we can edit any XML document in any text editor like the notepad. Why I am saying that it is a human readable? Because the elements are defined by the user according to their own requirement. And the XML language is a language neutral, means it is providing support, it provides support to any type of a programming language. And every XML document has a tree structure, hence even a complex data can be arranged in a simpler form. And systematically you can arrange the complex data and it can be understood in a simple manner. And these XML files are independent of an operating system. And the XML is useful in exchanging the data between the web applications. And the XML document is used to extract the data from the database where it is located in a web server. Understood? So now we will discuss about the major topic, that is a namespace in XML. As we know that there may be a possibility that in this XML you can create your own elements based on your requirement. So the process of creating the two elements with the same name is known as namespace in XML. Understood? So coming to the example now. So here I have used a major tag which is a root element, vehicles. So even this vehicle is having its starting tag as well as its ending tag. Understood? So now in these vehicles I am using a car. So as I already told you that is a root element here. Understood? So now here I am using a car element. I am defining the car element twice here. Understood? So in this car element, here this car is a container element. The car is a container element which may consisting of one or more child elements. So what are the child elements that I have written is, see here, price and color. Even in the second car also like this you may have the same price and color elements. So in this way here you used the same car element twice and even you used the price and color twice. So in this way the process of creating the two elements with the same name is known as a namespace in XML. So in XML namespace is allowed. Remember about that one. Understood? Now we will majorly so as I told you already that these price and color are child elements. Understand? So now coming to XML and CSS. So we already discussed about how to apply the cascading style sheets to a web document in HTML. So in the same way here also in XML we can apply the styles to the XML document using the CSS, and it can be done as follows. So see here every time you are writing an XML document, you are writing a XML document, in that case you need to write the first line, that is XML version is equals to 1.0 and encoding is equals to, encoding is the attribute you must use, and its value is UTF-8, UTF-8, where the UTF stands for Unicode Transmission Format. See this first line is preceded and followed by the question marks. Understood? So then in this XML document to insert the CSS into my XML document, see here I have used a CSS that is library.css in the second line by using the element that is XML hyphen style sheet type is equals to text or CSS. By using the href attribute, here I am including, I am using the reference of that CSS file. See here I have used the catalog root element, then I have used two books. It means the book element is used twice, and even in that book I have used, so here the book is a container element where it is again consisting of two child elements, that is a title and author. So here the namespace is used for a book element and as well as the title and author. Understood? So now see, this is the CSS document. See, for this in this CSS document, we have written the styles for the catalog, where the styles I am writing is a font family, that is Arial, and its a color that is a red, and then a font size that is 16 points. And then for a book and author, here I am using the what type of a selector it is, a type selector, book, comma, author. So again here also I am using the same properties like font family, color and font size. Understood? So now how you will get the output? Now coming to the document type definition. So what about this document type definition? The document type definition is used to define the basic building blocks of a XML document. And using this document type definition, we can specify the various element types, attributes, and DTD specify the set of rules for structuring the data in a XML file. And as I already told you that the document type definition is used to define the basic building blocks of any XML document. So what are the basic building blocks of XML document that this DTD must define is 4 are there. That is element, attribute, CD data and PC data. So what about that CD data and what about the PC data? CD data stands for character data and PC data stands for parsed character data. Understood? So coming to the now see here I am discussing about the elements now. So the basic entity is an element. We already know about where the element is used for defining the tags. And these elements consisting of opening and as well as the closing tag. That is the first basic building block element. And whereas coming to the second one, that is attribute. So the attributes are used to specify the values of the element. And these are specified in double quotes. Understood? So as I mentioned already that the CD data stands for character data, whereas the next one, that is the PC data, stands for parsed character data. Understood? So what are the types of DTD? So this document type definition is divided into 2 types. So the first one is internal DTD. What about this internal DTD? So the internal DTD, using this internal DTD, the code is placed between the DOC type tag. Remember about that. And coming to the external DTD. So whatever the DTD that you want to write, you must place that DTD in an external file and save that file with an extension that is a .dtd. So here there you need to specify the file name in your corresponding XML document. Understood? So now coming to the example related to the internal DTD. So as usually see here we have written the first line, that is XML version is equals to 1.0 and encoding is equals to UTF-8, where this first line preceded and followed by the question mark. And see here we have written a DOC type tag and it must be written in uppercase. So for which I am writing is nothing but a student element, I am writing the DTD here. And so what are the, so see here first I am writing the element student, where it is consisting of 3 child elements like name, address, marks. Thereafter I am defining each and every element, what about its type. So the first element name, its type is a PC data. You must write the PC data inside the open parenthesis and closed parenthesis, and while you are writing the data type, that is a PC data or else it is a CD data. It must be preceded by a hash symbol. The next element is address and the next element is marks. So we have closed the DOC type. And thereafter here we have used the XML element, that is a student, and closed that student where it consisting of 3 child elements, name, address and marks. Understood? So this is the way how you will write the external DTD. So coming to the external DTD now. So here whatever the DTD that you want to write, you must write the DTD in a separate file, and you have to save that file with an extension that is .dtd. So where that .dtd file, that is a student.dtd file, is used as a reference here. So here we have written a DOC type. So for which element we are writing is a student, and write the system in uppercase followed by student.dtd. And as usually we have written the remaining XML document. And so whatever the DTD that you wanted to write, place it in the student.dtd file. So it is we have written the DTD here also as usually like the previously used one, where we have defined the element student and followed by the elements name, address and marks, and as usually you need to write their corresponding data types. That is external DTD. So then now we will discuss about the XML schema. So the XML schemas are used to represent the structure of a XML document, and the purpose of XML schema is used to define the basic building blocks of XML document. And by using this XML schema you will define a language, and the XML schema definition language is known as XSD. The XML schema language is known as XML schema definition language. While you are saving this XML schema definition language, you need to write it in a separate file, and you have to save it with an extension that is .xsd. And this XML schema defines the elements, attributes, the elements which are having the child elements, the order of the child elements, and what are the fixed and default values for the attributes and their corresponding elements. And remember that this XML schema is an alternative to the DTD. Understood? So in that document type definition, it is defining the basic building blocks like elements, attributes, CD data and PC data. Here along with that additionally here in this XML schema we will define certain data types like boolean, string, date, like that we will define different types of data types, some complex data types. Understood? So then coming to the example. So see here in this example, the first line that I have written is XML version is equals to 1.0, encoding is equals to UTF-8. Thereafter, so here I am writing XS colon schema. For writing the XML schema, you have to write like that. So followed by XML-NS. XML-NS stands for XML namespace colon XS is equals to, you need to write that http colon worldwideweb.w3.org/2001/XML schema. Understood? So followed by XS colon element name is equals to, the element name that I have written is student. Then XS colon complex type you must write. Here I am defining the complex data type. So then first I am writing a sequence, XS colon sequence. Then first I am writing the XS colon element name is equals to name, and I have closed the element. Then I am defining one more XML schema element and its name is address, and thereafter I am defining one more element that is marks. So assume that you have completed defining all your elements like name, address and marks. Then you have to close the sequence and then close the complex type and then close the element and finally close the XS colon schema. So here you have to save this. This is an XML document. So followed by that, now we will discuss about the data types. So various data types that can be used to specify the different types of the data in an element. So what are the data types that we are having is nothing but string, date, numeric and boolean. So how you have to write? See in this example, here we have defined the three elements, that is the last name, age and date born. So here we have used the XS colon element, each and every name, that is the last name, age and date born. So for the last name we have used its data type is XS colon string. XML schema, that is a string. It means it is a string data type. Then for the age we have used XS colon integer. Remember, either you may write the integer or else you may write the number. Then for the date born we have used XS colon date. Understood? So now we need to discuss in detail regarding these data types one after another, that is a string, date, numeric and boolean. Now let us discuss about the string data type. The string data type is used to define the element containing the sequence of characters. So for writing this, first you need to write the XML document, and thereafter you need to write the XSD document. See here, I have written those two documents. So the first one is XSD document and the second one is a XML document. So the first one is XSD, that is a student.xsd, where it is XML schema definition language, where there I have written the XML schema. So what is that schema? For what I have written is nothing but for the element that is a name. Name is equals to student. I have written a type is equals to XS colon string. I have closed the XS colon element. And while you are writing the XML schema, you need to write the first two lines as usual. That is XML version is equals to 1.0, encoding is equals to 2, that is UTF-8. So then in that student.xml, we have used that is a student space. While you are defining the element, you need to use an attribute like XML NS colon XSI, which stands for XML schema instance. So you have to write the instance, that is a w3.org/2001/XML schema instance. So followed by one more attribute where you need to use that XSD file as a reference, that is XSI colon no namespace schema location is equals to write the name of the XSD file, that is a student.xsd. So here I have used my name. So the element name that I have used is my name Rajesh. Understood? So then now we will discuss about the date data type. The date data type is used to specify the date. The format of this date is first year followed by the month and followed by the date, understood. So even here also you need to write those two files, that is XSD file as well as the XML file. See here in this date data type, by using this, here we have defined the element where its name is DOB, where it stands for date of birth. And see the type that I have used is type is equals to XS colon date. And while you are writing the XML document, see there we have defined the DOB element. And here we have used the XSD file instance also by using XSI colon no namespace schema location is equals to, here we have specified that student.xsd file, and I used some date of birth there. So that is about date data type. Now coming to the numeric data types. So to represent the decimal or integer values, the numeric data types is to be used. So coming to the example here also, what you need to write is nothing but type is equals to XS colon decimal, or else you may write type is equals to XS colon integer. Understood? So here also we have written the student.xsd file as well as the student.xml file. Here we have defined the element for the schema for a element where its name is percentage and its type is equals to XS colon decimal. And we have defined the element in the XML document, that is a percentage, and here also we used the student.xsd file as a reference, and I used some percentage as a reference here. And finally coming to the last one, that is a boolean data type. This boolean data type is used for true or false values. So what is the element, for which element here I am defining the schema is nothing but here we have written XS colon element, its name is equals to flag and its type is equals to XS colon boolean. Understood? So in the same way, in that even in that student.xml file also you need to define the element, the same element, that is a flag, by using the student.xsd file as an instance. So that is all about 4 complex data types that this XML schema is defining. Understood? So now let us discuss about the differences between XML schema and DTD. So coming to the first difference, so XML schema are suitable for large applications, whereas the DTDs are suitable for small applications. And this XML schema support defining for the type of the data, whereas the DTDs does not support. Why I am saying like that? Because in DTD we will have only two, that is a character data or else parsed character data. But whereas coming to the XML schema, here it consisting of different types of the data which we discussed recently. And coming to the third difference, XML schema has a large number of built-in and derived data types, like I said before. And whereas coming to the DTD, it has a limited number of data types. And the next difference is XML schema supports namespace, whereas that DTD does not supports the namespace. And then coming to the next topic, that is a document object model. So what about this document object model? Simply we may call it as DOM, DOM. And this document object model is an application programming interface for valid and well-formed XML documents, and it defines the logical structure of the documents and how the way a document is accessed and manipulated. And then with the document object model, programmers can build the documents, navigate in that document, and whereas add the element or delete the element, or else even the content also. And anything which is found in the HTML or XML document can be accessed or changed or deleted or else added by using the document object model. And this document object model is a recommendation by W3C organization. That is a W3C recommendation, World Wide Web Consortium. And it is generally used for handling the structured documents. And remember that in document object model, everything from a XML document or else from a HTML document, it is treated as a node. So now, as I told you already, that this document object model is a programming for API for documents, and it is based on object structure that closely resembles the structure of the document that it models. And if you observe, now I will discuss about the history of this DOM. What about the history of this document object model? So first, initially a simple document object model was implemented in the Netscape 2.0 browser, where they used write method. So then thereafter, later it is used in the Netscape 3.0. In a newer DOM version is introduced, and it was able to handle the images and other elements of the browser. Then after that, Netscape 4.0 and Internet Explorer came up with a newer version of the DOM, both independently. And do remember that these both versions had a lot of differences with them. So hence developers found it difficult to handle the documents using document object model when browser was getting changed. So that's why the developers decided to build a standard version. So finally in the year that is 1997, W3C came up with a new version of the document object model to resolve all the differences which are there in the previous versions of DOM, and created a standard initial version in the year that is 1997. Understood? So now we will discuss about the levels of DOM. So how many levels of the DOM are there? Means 4 levels of DOM are there: DOM 0, DOM 1, 2, and then the last one is 3, DOM 3. So the document object model 0 level, it is supported by the early browsers. This level could support the JavaScript. So it is supported by the early browsers like Netscape 2.0, as well as it is implemented in Netscape 3.0, which was focused on XHTML and as well as the so coming to the next one, that is the document object model 1 level 1. This version is used in the year 1998, which was focused on XHTML and XML. And coming to the DOM 2, this version is issued in the year 2000, and it could specify the style sheet, and it also support the event model and traversal within the documents. And whereas coming to the DOM 3, this is a currently used version of the DOM, and it is published in the year 2004. And this version could deal with XML, with DTD, and as well as with schema, that is XML schema, and it may be used for document validation, and it is used for document views and as well as the formatting. Understood? So now basically the document object model is an application programming interface between the XML and application programs. So the document object model contains a set of the interfaces for a document tree node type, and these interfaces are similar to the Java or C++ interfaces. So they have the objects, properties, methods which are useful for respected node type of the web document. So now let us discuss about document object model tree. So the documents in a document object model tree represented using a tree like structure in which every element is represented as a node. So hence the tree structure is also referred as DOM tree. Understood? So coming to the example here, consider the following HTML document. So here inside the head section I have used a title, that is this is my web page, and see in the body I have used three child elements, that is H1, H2 and H3. Those three are the headings, and those three are having their own corresponding data. Understood? So now we will write the document object model tree, that is a DOM tree for this HTML document. Understood? So here in that previous example HTML document is a root node. So for the previous example, how to write the DOM tree? So as I told you already that first you need to write the root node where it is a document. So here we have written the document. So for that HTML document, there you are having the two child elements are there. One is the head and another one is the next one is a body. So if you observe the next one, that is a head, where it is consisting of the title as a child, and see this title is having some title information, that is a content like this is my web page. And whereas coming to the next further body, there you are having the three child elements like H1, H2 and as well as the H3. Those three child elements are having their own corresponding information like hello Vignan, hello CSE followed by CU. So here this document is a root node, and see here this body is a common parent to H1, H2 and H3. So those H1, H2, H3 are siblings. And see this head and body, these two are also siblings where they are having the common parent, that is a HTML document. Understood? So now we can describe in detail like what are the terminologies that I have used recently, like a root node and siblings, parent, child, like that. So every document, every element in a document object model tree is called as a node. And the topmost single node in the document object model tree is called as a root node. That is a HTML document in our HTML previously used example. So as you know that every child node must have a parent node, and the bottommost nodes that have no children are called as leaf nodes, and the nodes that have a common parent are called as siblings. This is already discussed by us. See in the previous example there H1, H2, H3 are the siblings, as well as head and body are also siblings. Understood? So now let us discuss about the element access in JavaScript. Generally there are different ways by which you can access the elements of a web document. So consider the following web document to understand different ways of accessing the elements in JavaScript. So before going to discuss that example, first first we will discuss about how many ways you can access the elements of a web document. Means generally here we will discuss three methods we will discuss. First let us discuss about the example here. See in this example inside the body we have used an element that is a form, where its name is a form1, and inside the form we have used an input element where its type is equals to text, that is a text box, where its name is my input. So thereafter closed the form and then close the body, close the HTML. So here how to access the input element. Now we will discuss about that, how to access the element that is input. So coming to the method 1. So in this method 1, every document element is associated with some address. So this address, what we are calling it like a document object model address, DOM address. So the document has a collection of forms and elements. So hence how we can access the element that is a form, that is in that form, that is input type is equals to text. So how to access that input element is here in this way you can write. So here I have declared a variable that is a DOM object, and I am writing a document of 0 dot element of 0. So in this way you can access the element, and see this is a not suitable method of addressing the elements, because if we change the previously used script as what we have changed here means one more element is introduced here. Previously there I have used only one input, that is a type is equals to text. My name is equals to my input. Additionally one more input is added by me, that is input type is equals to button. Name is equals to my button. So here the index may changes. Previously type is equals to text, its index is 0, but now its index is 1. So if you address in this manner, the index reference gets changed here. So you must use the another method here. So this is a disadvantage here. So in this way, for avoiding this, you need to use the next method, that is a method 2, where in this method we can make use of name attribute especially in order to access the desired element. So in this, so like this, where DOM object is equals to, here we are writing a document dot form 1 dot my input. So by using its name we are accessing the respective element. Even this method also causes some validation problem, because XHTML 1.1 version does not support the namespace, name attribute to the form element. So hence we have to use the some another method, the next one, that is method 3, where we are using one property. So we can access the desired element in a respective form in a web document by using the JavaScript method, that is a get element by ID. So this method defined in DOM 1 version, and so how to access a respective element by using this get element by ID means in this manner. So where DOM object is equals to document dot in the current document, that is a document dot get element by ID. So what is the ID that we used for that input type is equals to text is my input. Understood? So if the element is in a particular group, that means if there are certain elements on the form such as a radio buttons or else checkboxes, then they normally appear in the groups. So hence to access the elements we make use of its index. So see here I have used a form where its ID is equals to food. So here we used the 3 checkboxes where their names are vegetables, and they are having some values like spinach, fenugreek and cabbage. So how to access these 3 elements, that is where their names are common like vegetables. So here we are having the 3 are there, 3 elements are there, so we need to use the for loop. So see, for getting the values of these checkboxes, we can write the following code. So by writing the document dot get element by ID, that is food, we have written a for loop here where it starts from I is equals to 0, and we need to find out the length of how many number of checkboxes are there. So for that reason we have written a DOM object dot vegetables dot length and I++. So here it find out its length is 3. So then document dot write, we have written a DOM object dot vegetables of I followed by break to display each and every vegetable in a new line. Understood? So this is the another way to access a element in JavaScript by using the document object model. Understood? Thank you.